In this tutorial, what we're going to do is take a quick look at how we can do something called redirection in Linux. So the way that this works is like so. Let's imagine for a second that we're on our computer and we're working away like this, and I've got a directory that's got one file in it. Now you can do this on your computer by logging on to the virtual machine. Once you're in the virtual machine, the teacher will help you to get to this point. You'll need to open up a terminal, and once you're in the terminal, you should be able to then start following these steps. So here's a file I've got here. It's called greeting.txt. Let's take a look in it for a second using the cat program that we saw before, and you'll see it's got a couple of lines of text. Hello you too. The purpose of redirection is to think very differently about the way we use a computer. Whereas what you're used to doing is seeing everything appear on the screen, it didn't always happen to be that way. In the past, in the 1970s and 60s, monitors weren't really a thing. So what you would do is you'd type your commands, you'd hit enter, and then what would happen is in the background a big noisy printer would screech away and it would produce the results of your commands on that big line printer. And you'd end up with big pages and pages of this paper on a roll that would be generated as you used the computer. Thankfully, it doesn't have to be that way anymore. But the point I'm making is that you can produce output into other things. And the thing we're interested in today is putting output into files. So let's look at a new command. It's called echo, and on the face of it, it doesn't do much. Here's me going right now, echo space, speech marks, yo, that sounds young and happening, doesn't it? Boink, and what that does is it just echoes out whatever I typed in here straight onto the terminal. So by itself, that's not a very useful command, but as soon as we use this redirect idea, it becomes more useful. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the same command again. Remember, you can tap up on the arrow keys to see your command history. So I'm going to go echo yo, but this time I'm going to put a greater than symbol, and I'm going to give it a file name. I'm going to call it new file, and hit enter. So this time, rather than seeing the word yo bounced out onto the terminal, we don't see anything. But if I do a list, ls, you'll see there's a new file now, which I can cat, and you'll see that my message is in there. I'm going to do that exact same thing again. So I'm just going to go up a few times. I've still got yo, and I'm going to add a few more words. I'm just going to maybe replace yo with hello there, and let's try that. Let's cat that. You will notice that the previous message, that yo, is now gone. That's been wiped out and replaced by hello there. So what happens when we use that greater than symbol to redirect our output into new file is it wipes out whatever was in the file before and it replaces it with something new. Now sometimes that's convenient and sometimes it isn't. So maybe instead what we want to do is to add beneath what's already there, or to append, as we say, what's in that file. To do that, rather than using one greater than symbol, we use two. Okay, and I'm going to just change this message, hello there you, I'm putting on the end, and now I'm going to cat that file again. So what I've now got is I've got hello there, and I've got the new message that's sat immediately beneath it. The nice thing about redirecting is you don't have to use echo with it. You can use any command in any program you want. So for example, I can do ls, which you've seen me do several times, but rather than having ls output onto the screen, I can redirect that into myfiles.txt. Okay, and that way now if I ever needed it, I could cat it and I've got a list of all of my files. There's lots of other commands. Anything that generates a result and shows it on the screen can be redirected into a file, and that's really useful whenever you're working with all sorts of different things. One more example would be my history. So if I type in history like this, it actually shows you the last 100 things or last 500 things I've typed in. But again, I could take my history and I could then redirect that into a file called myhist.txt. You call the files whatever you like. And then if I ever wanted to look through that again at my convenience, I could open it in a text editor. Nano's quite a good one. And I can browse through it. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Control Q, by the way, to quit Nano if you just did that. Oh no, sorry, Control X actually. There we go. So that's how we do redirection in Linux.